Okay, so I thought I'd put a quick vid together to see how quick and easy it is to knock up a landing page in Foundry. I'm using most of the image work from BaileyWiki, who's put out some useful pictures, so that's easy, but you can find a lot of images for suitable clutter online, and this isn't a complicated thing. It's the simplest landing page I could think of. So create scene, landing page. Let's take off lighting and token vision and fog, make an unrestricted vision range, and then in terms of the image for the background, let's go to modules, BaileyWiki landing pages, tiles, base, tabletop wooden, select file, save it, change the dimension of scene, yes. So that's what I'm going to stick my clutter on. There's not much needed for the most basic format. I've got Monk's Active Tiles as a module and lock view. So there's a few others you can put on to make things prettier, but make sure you activate the modules, configure settings. Lock view doesn't need any configuration. Monk's Active Tiles leave as the default for now. Let's get and drag some clutter on. So that's the background one. He's got a dressed tabletop, but I prefer to dress it myself. Base decor. Let's find a map. This one. Let's find a book. Some scrolls. And a couple of coins. These are absolutely huge. Compass. Missed compass. And a couple of potion bottles. That'll do. Right, and then it's just a matter of resizing your tiles to something you like the look of. Everything's big. I presume it made all these images so large so you can stretch them out to a decent size. When you start to... Right, there's my compass. Let's shrink these coins down to a little smaller. The trouble is when you... There we go, there's one there. Ah, got my compass now. Could lock it, I suppose. Right, it's not very pretty, so... Ah! Can't have oval though. There we go. So, a couple of coins over here. Let's get the potions on the desk. Let's get this massive book a bit smaller. There's an image I quite like, which I've just found on the internet, which is just some blank cards. So let's go into my own folder, where I've stashed that. Source data, landing page, cards, this one. Let's get that to a sensible size. just using that as a decorative element for my tokens. Let's get this out. Right, so tokens get to the character sheets. That's easy. That needs nothing beyond normal setup. So these are some of the default characters, but I've got them on. These are the default heroes that come in the basic journals. Oh, do the same. Dwarf Rogue and Halfling Barbarian. Okay, so I just use those as a sort of placeholder. Players aren't moving around on this, they're just accessing info whilst we use it as a pause. So usual, double clicking on their token will bring up their character sheet, which gets them to their personal inventory. All is good and as usual. If we want to do something with the compass and say that the compass takes you to a map, say, or lets you navigate between scenes that you've got access to or something like that, like you just use the active tile token, but that it's got a lot of shadow, so there's a lot of spacing around it, so it's a bit tidier to just lock that maybe and drop in from just a blank image. Not my landing stuff, we want the modules, we want BaileyWiki, landing pages, icons, no, BaileyWiki landing pages, tiles, active tiles, and he's got a selection. If you've seen this before, if you use any BaileyWiki stuff, but these are just blank images which are a target zone, so I'll make that a bit smaller so that that's the thing that you're clicking on rather than the whole. If you hold shift down, it'll land it on top of it where you position it. Make it invisible and then configure that to do something. So double click, trigger, allow all tokens, control by anyone, all fine, not on enter because they're not moving around, on double click. Give it a hover over pointer so it turns to a finger when you're hovering over it, and always do something. The action is going to be open a journal entry, open a journal, select journal. I've got one up here, map. Show to everyone? No, we just want it to open for the player that's clicking on it, the triggering player, and update tile. So, changes to a finger when you're on it, double click it, open a journal. Oh, got to be in the token view, double click it, opens a map. Couldn't be nicer. You could do exactly the same. In fact, you could just get that tile, highlight it, Control C to copy, Control V, stick it on top of a potion bottle, or could be a poison bottle, double click. Everything else is set up right, we just need it to trigger a different journal entry. So the action is edited, open journal, not map, pick another one, poison notes, there we go. Just for the triggering player, update tile. All good so far, pretty straightforward. I quite like using a shared party inventory as a place that people can stash stuff they pick up before they decide who's actually going to have it and all of that. So there's a way around using that. You can put an open book in the middle. This is stuff with just those two modules, Monk's Active Tiles and Lock View. We haven't done the Lock View yet. Let's just put a book in the middle, an open book, to give some place to put notes. It's in my folder actually. Let's get that up. It takes ages to find something with a suitable, free off the internet. landing page. There's a book somewhere. One of these is better than the other. Blank book 2. That's probably my second edit. Trying to add a drop shadow to it. Let's shrink that down to some sensible size and drop it in the middle there. So if you've configured the user permissions, user management, and configure permissions, you can allow players to use the drawing tool. Use drawing tools for players, saves the configuration, save and return. Which will mean that they can then put something like notes into here. Not very nice text though. There's a way around that, but yeah, let's do that. First of all, let's get this scene locked off. So really, I want to configure it, the landing page, with a black background because it just looks nicer. Basics, background, black. Save changes. And I want to lock the view so that the players can't pan and scroll and zoom. It's not essential to do that, but I think it's just nice if it's a fixed, if this particular scene is a fixed view. So using the module lock view, which you have to enable of course, you can go to the configuration of the landing page and you can go to the lock view tab here and you can lock pan and you can lock zoom and you can just go auto scale to the outside. You can have it collapse the sidebars or the UI if you want, but I don't need it to do that. Save changes. There we go. And neither me nor anyone else can pan or zoom the view. Where else are we going? Let's look at putting on some of those other modules that can prettify things. Modules. So I've got better text drawings, which lets you have multi-line text. I've got custom fonts, which will let you put your own fonts into the Foundry interface or UI, if you like. Libwrapper is a dependency of, I think, better text drawings, or the way around. Better text drawings requires libwrapper. A lot of you we've got already, Monk's Active Tiles we've got already. So these are just prettiness things, but with that you can get to putting in, let's put some text in here, double click on it to edit it, text. So now I've got multi-line text boxes and a greater selection of fonts if I put them into fonts. Let's do that first. So sorry, this is like a chaotic run through. We go to manage, configure settings for modules, module settings. In the better, or in the custom fonts, you have to specify your local font directory. So, and that has to be under the game directories. But I just put a folder in my own directory and I called it fonts, and I dragged a couple out of my Windows fonts file into that. Once you've selected the directory and save those settings, custom fonts will let you pick other fonts that you've put into the game effectively. To-do list by quails eggs, kill someone, and you can get other scripts. This is Blackadder. Make the text black as if it was inky. Update drawing. Yeah, still looks a bit big. Let's not use Blackadder. Let's use this script. That Susan looks a bit fancy, isn't it? But there we go. You get the idea. Pick a font and I think I want to use it actually on my own desktop with maybe this one, High Spirited. Yeah, is it in bold text? Still looks a bit thick. Anyway, you get the idea. You can get a pretty to-do list. The players can create that themselves and update their own thing. I haven't found a way to let the permissions system own a text drawing, or any drawing for that matter. What I'd really like is a transparent version of the journal system. I tend to use Monk's enhanced journal, and it's very nice indeed and very handy, and it's a lot more powerful than the default Foundry one. But it'd be great if you could just have a blank UI-less version of it that could have the same user permissions as the journals already do, but something I can just leave as a blank overlay and put over my my landing page. That would be perfection, but it doesn't exist yet as far as I know. If you know of a better way to do this, tell me. I'd be grateful to know. What else? Oh, the shared party inventory, which I like. If you go to characters and create yourself a little NPC character called Party Loot, and for that, in fact, I'll just drag that onto here for the minute. For that token, we're going to select the loot sheet, if you like. You can configure the colours of that to suit yourself. And I'm going to give that token a different appearance, and I'm going to use one of the tiles from BaileyWiki's tile assets, but you can pick any image you like. Appearance, modules, BaileyWiki, landing pages. There's a box in here somewhere. It'll be in decor containers. We can use one of those. That gets you a nice little chest. Right click, configure it. I want the appearance to be 2 grid squares by 2 grid squares. Update token. A bit bigger actually. Let's make it even bigger. Let's make it 4 by 4. Right, so I've now got a nice chest. As a character, I'm going to get a party loot main token, and we'll set the prototype token to be that. Let's check that's worked. If I drop another one onto the sheet, yeah, you can get a box. So now when we double click on that, we go straight to the party loot, which is quite nice. So if player is up and wants to put its short sword in to the shared inventory and his longbow in, I'll stretch this down a bit, confirm, so we can dump things into the party loot inventory, and players can trade with each other, or you know, they can, you know, give and take and buy. This can be set up to be NPC loot tables and all sorts. It's quite handy. So that's my party loot thing. So they have homebrew items in there that they haven't identified yet, and then they sort them out from that position. You can link the coins to coins. In terms of navigation, instead of it just popping up a map as a journal entry, you could make it do a scene change. Let's do another token from the BaileyWiki containers. No, BaileyWiki gear. It's got a compass. Let's do there's a telescope in here, I think, somewhere. Sextant. Let's go and put that on. Rather splendid sextant. If you want the people to be able to move to a different scene, let's make a quick scene. Create scene. Scene. What can we have? unicorn. Tavern, create scene. If players have permission to get to that, all players, save changes. You can double click on the picture, set your trigger using Monk's active tiles, on, not enter, on double click to do something. The action being add, change scene. Where is it? Jump to landing, that's the logical things. Change scene, open a actor sheet, open a journal, scene, teleport. Current token to select location, unicorn, there, say update tile. So if they have, they're ready with their character, Quilath, double clicks on the sextant, should, let's have a look, did I get that wrong? Triggers, teleport current token to Vulgar Unicorn. Oh, it didn't highlight my token first. So if they highlight their token and then double click on the sextant, Quilath has teleported to the Vulgar Unicorn and it'll be on a blank grey page. But there we go. If you do that page with the means of getting back some sort of return link or a little sextant in the top left hand corner again, they can get back to the landing page. So you could have a selection of maps or scenes or the local places that the party can go while they're in downtime, for example. Things they can be doing. So that's it. So it was as simple as it gets. That's how I did it anyway. It's I hope it's helpful for getting started. If you find extra twerks and extra tricks or niceties that I've not got myself there, I'd love to know. So let me know, and I hope it's some help.